of Bhishma Pitam. I would like to begin with the Mangalacharan. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalitam Shri Vishakan Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripe Vansha Kalpataru Vescha Kripa Sindhu Bhaiva Chapatidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavya Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, in this particular chapter, which says as passing away of Bhishma Pitama, so it's a very important chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam. This will help you to settle down your faith as far as Krishna consciousness is concerned, because here you are going to deal with the life of a Mahajana who was on the deathbed. Banu ki shayya par lete hue the, he was there and waiting for the right time to leave the body, and the war had just finished, and Yudhishthir was very sad that so many people had to be killed just for a piece of land, and he was not happy about it, because being a Vaishnava, Shuddha Vaishnava, he is Paradukha Dukhi. So he could see that what a waste of life it was just to get some kind of kingdom. Though he was thinking some kind of kingdom, he was actually going to be the king of the earth, which by no means is a small thing. People fight panchayat elections and college elections, and they try to kill each other to get the position. And here was a man who was thinking that by killing so many people, even if I have to become the emperor of the earth, it's a bad deal. So that goes to show the mentality of a Shuddha Vaishnava. And equally Shuddha was the person who was lying on the bed of arrows, Shri Bhishma Pitama, who is one of the 12 Mahajanas from whom we learn the way of life from the Shastra. So, as and when the time goes by, I would also give you a background to the birth of Shri Bhishma Dev, which is very important so that it sets the tone for the rest of the chapter and we understand that what it is. I'll begin with the first verse, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, verse number 1. Suta uvacha iti bhita prajadrohat sarvadharma vivitsaya tato vinashanam praghat yatra deva vratopatat. Suta Goswami said, being afraid of having killed so many subjects on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Maharaj Parikshit went to the scene of massacre. There Bhishma Dev was lying on the beds of arrow, about to pass away. Now, here it is said as Bhishma Deva, but his actual name is Deva Vrataha. So we will also see that how Deva Vrataha became Bhishma Deva. Though quite a few of you must have known the story if you have read Mahabharata or if you have seen Mahabharata. But just for the sake of refreshing our mind, we will do that. So, purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. In his 9th chapter, as willed by the Lord Sri Krishna, Bhishma Deva will impart instructions to King Yudhishthira on the subject of occupational duties. Bhishma will also offer his last prayers to the Lord on the verge of passing away from this mortal world and thus become liberated from the bondage of further material engagements. Bhishma was endowed with the power of leaving the body, material body at will, and his lying down on the bed of arrows was his own choice. This passing away of the great warrior attracted attention of all the contemporaries elites, and all of them assembled there to show their feeling of love, respect, affection for the great soul. Just a minute. Sorry for the interruption. Yeah. So here there are a few things which is said by Srila Prabhupada, where he says that he was lying on the bed of arrows by his own choice. The passing away of the great warrior attracted attention of all the contemporaries, and he was thus going to be liberated from the bondage of further material engagement. Now, this is a big statement. None of us know that we will not take birth again or not. But here, Prabhupada clearly mentions that he was on the verge of passing away from the mortal world and thus become liberated further. And for that, he was also being given an opportunity to offer his last prayer to the Lord on the verge of passing away. Now, these few things are, we need to be etching up in our mind, that antakale cha mama eva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nasti atra samshayam. Antakale, at the time of passing away, on the verge of passing away. Antakale cha mama eva, only me, Krishna says. Smarana, only me. Smaran sirf mera karo, not multiples. Smarana, muktva kalevaram. Muktva means moksha. Kalevaram matlab this material body made out of Pancha Mahabhuta. And once you do that, Samad Bhavam, you will attain my kingdom. So we go to the next verse. Tada te bhratara sarve sada svai swarna bhushitahe anvagacham rater vipra vyasadrumadayasthatha. At that time, all his brothers followed him on a beautiful chariots drawn by first-class horses, decorated with gold ornaments. With them were Vyasa and Rishi like Dhaumya, the learned priest of Pandavas and others. Now, this Dhaumya was a very important person because he was the Rishi, he was the Pandit, he was the learned priest and Rishi who traveled with Pancha Pandavas during the 12 years of Vanvas and 13th year of Agyatras. In the 13th year, he was not there with them directly, but in those 12 years, Dhaumya was with the Pandavas and he gave them many such situations and learnings when Yudhishthira used to become very sad or morose or pained. So he would contain his feelings, give him some Shastric evidences, Shastric stories from Padma Puran and other Puranas. So when you read an elaborate Mahabharata, so when there is a Vanvas Khand is there, in that you will see that Dhaumya was actually doing the job of a teacher with this Pandava. So he was an amazing person. So Vyasa, Dhaumya, they are all contemporaries. Verse number 3. Bhagavanapi viprarshe rathena sa dhananjaya satair yarochata nripaha kuvera eva guyakahi. So, O sage amongst the Brahmanas, Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, also followed seated on the chariot with Arjun. Thus, King Yudhishthira appeared very aristocratic like a Kuver, surrounded by his companions, the two yakas. So, you see, actually, by telling that he looked like Kuver, it is an appreciation for Kuver. Because Kuver ke aspas mein Bhagwan Sri Krishna kabhi nahi hote. But here it says, because in the material world, people, they pray to whom? Kuverji, for Dhan Sampatti Aishwarya. So for many of us who do not have a proper Krishna conscious knowledge, for them in the Devata worship, Kuber is one who will be worshipped on the night of Deepavali. And Kuber is the Dhan Sanchante or Dhan Sanchaya of the Devatas, the man who keeps the Dhana for everybody. So that's how it goes. So Lord Krishna wanted the Pandavas to be present before Bhishma Dev in the most aristocratic order, so that he might be pleased to see them happy at the time of death. Because what was Bhishma Pitama's front. I will see the reflection of my father and the person who's sitting on the throne of Hastinapur. So that Krishna wanted that his devotee should not have any pain in his life. So what the Lord did, he brought everybody in the most aristocratic manner and presented in front of Bhishma, so that Bhishma can conveniently leave his body with happiness. Kuber is the richest among demigods, and herein King Yudhishthira appeared like him, for the procession along with Sri Krishna was quite appropriate to the royalty of King Yudhishthira. So Kuber is the richest demigod, and he definitely carries a lot of weightage, no doubt about it. And Krishna wanted it to be appropriately presented to Bhishma. Drishtva nipititam bhaumau bhumau divaschutam ivamaram pranemu pandava bhishmam saguna sa chakrina. Seeing him, Bhishma lying on the ground like a demigod fallen from the sky, the Pandava king Yudhishthira along with younger brothers and Lord Krishna bowed down before him. Yeah, it is like a demigod fallen from the sky, because Bhishma Pitama was no less than a demigod. He was one of the Ashtavasus. So it is a befitting terminology given. Lord Krishna was also younger cousin of Maharaj Yudhishthira as well as an intimate friend of Arjuna. But all the family members of Pandavas knew Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord, although conscious of his supreme position, always behaved in humanly customs. So he also bowed down before the dying Bhishma Deva as if he was the younger brother of Yudhishthira. So here Bhagavan हमको ये बताते हैं कि यद्यप he is teaching us by example how to live in the human society. He is teaching us in the best possible way how to do it. Number 5. Tatra Brahma Rishaya Sarve Devar Rishascha Satamana Raja Rishascha Tatrasam Drashtum Bharata Pungavam. Mataji, I'm in the midst of a class. Can I call you? Correct. So, translation. To see the chief of descendants of King Bharata Bhishma, all great souls in the universe, namely the rishis amongst the demigods, brahmanas and kings, all situated in the quality of goodness, were assembled there. Now, again, there is to see the chief descendants of Bharata Bhishma, because Bhishma was Bharatvamshi, the great souls of the universe came down, rishis among demigods, that is Narad Muni, brahmanas and kings situated in the quality of goodness. Now you see, this quality of goodness again is very, very important over here. If you go to see, even when Bhishma Dev was staying with the Kauravas in Hastinapur, because the people over there were in the mode of passion and ignorance, they many a time insulted this great soul. They could never understand the value of this person and what he was telling. He was just sidelined and used to their political interests. And this is what actually happens in the Kali Yuga. That was the first sign of Kali Yuga shown in Dwapar Yuga, that what's going to come in future with us. So Bhishma was very, very pained by their so many atrocities they done on him. So many times they insulted him. So many times they sidelined him. And so many times they accused him of being partial. So you see, who could come to this such a person? Only in the quality of goodness. Those in the mode of passion and ignorance would never come to him. So purport is, the rishis who have attained perfection of spiritual achievements. Such spiritual achievements can be earned by whether one is a king or a mendicant. Bhishma himself was one of the Brahma rishis and the chief of the descendants of King Bharata. All rishis situated in the quality of goodness. All of them assembled on hearing the news of the warrior impending death. So you see, they felt connected to Bhishma Dev, though Bhishma Dev was a Kshatriya, but by his Bhishma prana that he took, he became attached to the rishis. Next, so this 6 to 7 is there. I would not go into the purports of this, because this purport gives you the importance of all the rishis, right from Parvata Muni, Narad Muni, Dhaumya, Bhardarayana. So I would request you all to go through this in your free time and see the glories of this each Rishi Munis, whom Srila Prabhupada has depicted very well. This is for the sake of time. So it says, Parvato Narado Dhaumyo Bhagavan Bhardarayana Brahadvasho Bharadvajaha Saishyo Renuka Sutaha. So Renuka Sutaha here is Parshuram and Bhardarayana is Vyasa. Vasishtha Indrapramadas Krito Gritsamadositaha Kikikshvan Gautamo Trishascha Kaushiko Tada Sudarshanaha. All sages like Parvat Muni, Narad, Dhaumya, Vyasa, incarnation of Lord, Brahadvarsha, Bharadvaj, and Parshuram, the disciples, Vasishtha, Indrapramada, Tirtha, Ritasmada, Asita, Kakshivan, Gautama, Atri, Kaushik, and Sudarshan were present. Anne Chamunayo Brahman, Brahmaradayo, Malaha, Shishya Rupeta Agmahu, Kashyapangri Dagdhyashaha, and many others like Shukdev Goswami and other purified souls like Kashyap, Angirasa, and others were also accompanied by their respective disciples. So let's read on Shukdev Goswami because he is the speaker of Bhagavata. He is also called Brahmarata, the famous son and disciple of Srila Vyasadeva, who taught him the first Mahabharata and then Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukdev Goswami recited 1.4 million verses of Mahabharata in the councils of Gandharva, Yakshas, Rakshasas, and recited Srimad Bhagavatam for the first time in the presence of Maharaja Parikshit. He thoroughly studied all the Vedic literatures from his great father, who is Vyasa, and thus he completely purified soul by the dint of his extensive knowledge in the principles of religion. From Mahabharata Sabha Parva 4:11, it is understood that he was also present in the royal assembly of Yudhishthir Maharaj at the fasting of Maharaj Parikshit. As a bona fide disciple of Srila Vyasadeva, he inquired from his father very extensively about the religious principles and spiritual values, and his great father also satisfied him by teaching the yoga system by which one can attain the spiritual kingdom. The difference between fruitive work and empiric knowledge, and means and ways of attaining spiritual realization in 4 ashrams, namely student life, householder life, retired life, and renounced life. The sublime position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The process of seeing him face to face and a bona fide candidate of receiving knowledge. So if you go to see, just a minute.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Sorry to disturb you. Just wanted to check with everyone. I received a message, personal message, that some of them are not able to hear. Just wanted to check if the voice is okay. Everybody is able to hear.
Hare Krishna. Am I clear, dear?
Prabhu, little louder. If the voice is, then that will be better.
Yeah, it's a bit feeble. So if it's a bit louder, will be much better.
Okay. Are you able to hear now? Because I've just brought it a little bit closer. It could be that the mic is not picking up my sound. Just a minute.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I think the voice is still little, volume is little less. If anything can be done. If your mic can be brought little closer to your mouth.
Yeah, just a minute. Maybe I'll have to put a connecting device or something. Give me a second. Yeah.
Thank you,
Radhapada Pankaja Prabhu, just check if
Yeah.
you have enabled the original sound. Enable. So the settings you have, enable original sound. Can you do that? वो Zoom में problem है actually. वो enable नहीं करो तो sometimes it breaks.
You want me to go to the computers area or you want me to go to the Zoom area?
Zoom में, if you go to the more or settings, you will see somewhere which says enable original sound.
Okay, now select the microphone, select the speaker.
प्रभु सेटिंग्स में है वो, सेटिंग्स में ऑडियो के अंदर आपको दिखेगा.
Zoom में जाके.
हाँ,
Zoom में है प्रभु.
Okay, let me do that. Hmm.
Headset hai, otherwise.
Okay, audio settings have been here. Auto, low pen background noises. Enable the option of original sound is on. It's on, dear. Building option, original sound is on. Audio.
So then the only way is you have to come little closer.
Just give me a minute.
Headphone hai kya nahi to?
Hare Krishna, am I audible?
To me,
Much better. Much better.
okay, great. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, this is just I put a device now. So let's see how it works. Should there be any problem, let me know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hare Krishna, sorry for the interruption. So now we see that in the process of seeing him face to face, the bona fide candidate of receiving the knowledge, the consideration of 5 elements, unique position of intelligence, the consciousness of the material nature and the living entity, the symptoms of self-realized soul, the working principles of material body, the symptoms of influential modes of nature, the tree of perpetual desire, the psychic activities. Sometimes he went to the sun planet with the permission of his father and Naradji. The descriptions of his travel in the space are given in the Shanti Parva of Mahabharata. At last, he attained the transcendental realm. He is known by different names like Aranyaya, Aruni Shuta, Vayasaki, and Vyasatmaja. So see, within this one paragraph, how many things have been described about Srila Vyasadeva, Srila Shukadeva Goswami. Now it says, initially, if you see, when he was conceived by Vyasa, many of you may be shocked to know that he never came out of his mother's womb for 16 years because he had the fear that if I come out, Maya will catch me and I shall become one like others. So he didn't want to come out. So eventually, when his father requested him to come out of the womb, he said, I will not because I'm scared that Maya will catch me and I don't want to fall into the material world activities. So eventually, Vyasa invited Lord Krishna from Dwarka to give him the assurance that you will not be attacked by Maya. So Lord Krishna came to his house in Kutir and spoke to them. He said, my dear Shukdev, please come out. And that is how Shukdev came out. And as soon as he came out of the mother's womb, he attained a 16-year-old body. And he was bluish in color, same as Krishna. So was his father Vyasa, was also bluish in color. That is the reason Vyasa's name is Krishna Dvaipayana. And both his father and son, they were instrumental in giving us the best of the best called Srimad Bhagavatam. "199 Tan sametan mahabhagan uplabhya vasutamaha pujyamamasa dharmagno deshakala vibhagavet." Bhishmadev, who was the best among the eight Vasus, received and welcomed a great and a powerful rishi who were assembled there, for he perfectly knew the religious principle according to time and place. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Expert religionists know perfectly well how to adjust religious principles in terms of time and place. All the great acharyas or religious preachers or reformers of the world execute their mission adjusting of religion, religious principles in terms of time and place. There are different climates and situations in different parts of the world, and if one has to discharge his duty to preach the message of the Lord, he must be expert in adjusting the things in terms of time and place. Bhishmadev was one of the great 12 authorities in preaching this cult of devotional service, and therefore he could receive and welcome the powerful assembled sages at his deathbed from all parts of the universe. He was certainly unable to welcome at that time to welcome and receive physically, because he was neither at home nor in a normal healthy condition, but he was quite fit by the active of his sound mind, and therefore he could utter sweet words with hearty expressions, and all of them were received. One can perform one's duty by physical work, but by mind and body and words. And he knew very well how to utilize them in the proper place, and therefore there was no difficulty for him to receive them, although physically unfit. Beautiful purport. Here, Bhishma Pitama, though he was lying on the bow of arrows, bed of arrows, just imagine what pain he must be going through. For us, if there is one small prick of horn or a needle, and we become so much morose of the pain, we are unable to bear the things. And here is a man whose chest and stomach and the top part of the chest has been completely riddled with arrows from the Gandiva bow of Arjuna. With what force and what might it must have pierced his body. And then he was lying down, because the Mahabharata war went for 18 days, and somewhere around the 10th day, Bhishma Pitama fell down. So from that point of time, Bhishma Pitama went on to be in this position till the Uttarayan started on Makar Sankranti. And the Bhagavad Gita was spoken somewhere before Margashish month. And then the war started in the month of Margashish. And then it finished on the 18 days. And after that, he lived on because he wanted to quit the body at the right time. And with all the pain, when the time of passing away came near, Lord Krishna came there with his Pancha Pandavas, all the Rishi Munis came, and he was receiving each one of them with sweet words and appropriate gesture. Because even though his physical body was in pain, it was not in a position to function, he still had a sound mind and his thought process was there. So how many of us are actually sound-minded and fit when we are physically unfit? We can make a reality test and see that we may be really not to that level. Number 10, Krishnam Chatat Prabhavagnya Asinim Jagadishwaram Ridistam Pujayamasha Mayayopata Vigraham. Lord Krishna is situated in everyone's heart, yet he manifests his transcendental form by his internal potency. This very Lord was sitting before Bhishma Dev, and since Bhishma knew his glories, he worshipped him duly. Now Bhishma Dev took the chance of worshipping Bhagavan Sri Krishna, because this is the rarest of the rarest situation that you are going to leave the body and the Lord is personally present right in front of you. Right in front of you. So the Lord's omnipotency is displayed in his simultaneous presence in every place. He is present always in his eternal abode Golok Vrindavan, and still is present in everyone's heart, even within the invisible atom. When he manifests his eternal transcendental form in the material world, he does so by his internal potency. The external potency or the material energy has nothing to do with his eternal form. All these truths were known to Sri Bhishma Deva, who worshipped him accordingly. Now you see, many a time we take Rama or Krishna as one of us, though they are amongst us, they have nothing to do with the material world, all its effects. And this is what has been known to Bhishma Deva. Bhishma Deva actually knew the position of Bhagavan Sri Krishna very well. So now let's go back into the time to see how Bhishma Pitama came down. So we will go into a short story. And how many of you know that there is something called Bhishma Ashtami? Has anybody ever celebrated Bhishma Ashtami, or have anybody known? They can
No,
show
sir.
it by your hand.
No, we are not aware. At least I am not aware.
We do have Bhishma Ashtami, which falls in the month of February, for everybody's knowledge. And it is celebrated in certain parts of Andhra Pradesh, especially Kakinada area, those areas. So for them, they accept the fact that he is one of the 12 Mahajanas and he is worshipable. Like, it's very, very important to know that Bhishma Pitama is a great personality. Now, what happens over here is that we will go back into the time of a situation where there used to be a king by the name of Mahabhishek. And this Mahabhishek was staying in Dhruva planet, the Bhulok Vaikunta. Within our Brahmanda, there is a Vaikunta, which is the Dhruva Tara, the pole star. And there Shirodaksha Vishnu lives with Mahalakshmi. And this Mahabhishek, this king, had attained the perfection of his life, and he was transferred from earth after giving up his body to Vaikunta, Dhruvatara. One day, due to some requirements, this Mahabhishek, he traveled from, I think, let me put a small picture for all of you so that you will relate to what I'm telling. Give me a minute. Can you see the chart now, everybody?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So Mahabhishek was situated here in Dhruvaloka. Okay. And from Dhruvaloka, he traveled to Satloka or Brahmaloka, Satyaloka, the abode of Lord Brahma. Now, there is one quality of Brahmaloka, that there is no Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mad, Matsarya. It is pure. That is the reason the name is given Satyaloka. So, when the king Mahabhishek he traveled from Dhruvaloka to Satyaloka, and when he was speaking to Brahmadev, there in Brahmaloka, Ganga Devi resides. Ganga Devi resides in Brahmaloka. So she was passing by and Mahabhishek happened to look at her. So it so happened that due to the breeze flowing, certain part of Ganga Devi's body was revealed. And when Mahabhishek saw that, there was a certain desire that came in his mind. And that was equally reciprocated by Ganga Devi also. That was equally reciprocated by Ganga Devi also. So, Brahmadev, when he saw this, he was very angry. He said, this is not the place for sexual desires to be fulfilled. Neither this is a place where anything of that kind exists. So you both have to go to the face of the earth and fulfill your desires. So when Ganga Devi heard that, she felt very sad that this mistake has happened. So she eventually bowed down in front of Brahma and said, my dear Lord, I agree to my mistake. Kindly forgive me for it. But this is a very tough curse that you have given me. You please bless me by your mercy. Brahmadev could see that there was a genuine repentance in her. So he little bit modified. He said, okay, you will go to the face of the earth, deliver, and Ashtavasus will take birth as your children. As soon as you give birth to the 8 Vasus, you can come back to your higher planetary system. And Mahabhishek, he also was blessed that, okay, you will be a great Kshatriya and you will have a great son. So this is how these both fell down to the earth. Now, Ganga Devi, when she was walking on the earth, so she wanted to have an appropriate husband through which she could deliver the 8th child and go back to Satyaloka. So at that point of time, when she was walking on the banks of Ganga river, her own river, she saw that there was one great king by the name of Pradeep in Chandravamshi, who was meditating sitting on the banks of Ganga because he didn't have a son. And he wanted an appropriate son who could run the kingdom. So this particular king, Pradeep, he was in such a deep meditation that he didn't know what's happening around. So when Ganga Devi saw Pradeep, she looked at him, she could realize that he's a great king. She said, okay, he could be an appropriate husband for me. So why not go and express the desire of getting married to him? So what happened when she went in front of him, he was in such a deep meditation that he did not realize Ganga Devi is there. So Ganga Devi quietly went and sat on the right lap of King Pradeep. So as soon as she sat on the right lap of King Pradeep, uska dhyan thoda bhang ho gaya, and he got up. And he looked at her. He said, yes, my dear Devi, what is it that it is in your mind and how come you have come and sat down over my lap? So she expressed her desire that this is what I intend to do. Would you accept me as your wife? So King Pradeep smiled and said, he said, my dear Devi, when you came and sat on my right lap, which goes to show that this is not appropriate for you to be my wife, because wife normally sits on the left lap. Who sits on the right lap is daughter or daughter-in-law. So now that you sat on my right lap, you will become the wife of my would-be son, and I will accept you as my daughter-in-law. So you see, the Shastra teaches us by the dint of the situations also that how do you understand that who sits where, why, and what. So eventually, in due course of time, King Pradeep gave birth to Shantanu, the king, who was also the father of Bhishma Pitama. And Ganga Devi was waiting for Shantanu to come. And it so happened that after many, many years, Shantanu was on a spree of hunting And after hunting, when he was tired and thirsty, he came to the banks of Ganga to have some water. And that is the time Ganga Devi was roaming over there and walking. So when Shantanu saw her, he got attracted. And she was equally attracted to him. He is nobody but then the Maha-Abhishek who had fallen down from the sky. And they had an acceptance of each other. And Shantanu proposed her that would she be his wife. So she put a condition. She said, yes, we know that what happened after that. We will definitely get married, but you should not question whatever I do. So giving a break over here now, we will go to the next part of it, where Brahmadev had blessed Ganga that Ashtavasus will come as your sons. Now Ashtavasus, these 8 Vasus, they are principal demigods. They are the principal demigods in the heaven, and each one has a job to do. Now we go to the Ashtavasus case where 8 Vasus were there, and out of the 8, the youngest name was called Dio. Dio means Akash. We say Dhyayu Shanti, Antarik Shanti. So Dhyayu or Dio is Akash. And he was the youngest and the most intelligent. So one day he and his wife was roaming. So in the Vasishtha Muni's ashram, they saw the Kamadhenu cow. So when they saw Kamadhenu cow, the desire of the wife was to have that cow for herself, because Kamadhenu is able to fulfill all your desires. So she insisted her husband. So her husband, along with the other 7 Vasus, his brothers, approached Vasishtha Muni's ashram. After approaching Vasishtha Muni's ashram, they forcibly took the cow and came down. And eventually, when Vasishtha Muni came to know, he came by the dint of his mystic power. He defeated the 8 Vasus and got the cow back. And he cursed them to go to earth and take birth. Now, coming to the earth and taking birth, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jatare Shainam. Ida Samsare Bahu Dukkhare, Kripaya Pahe, Pahe Murare. So, it so happened that they felt very bad about what they did. So they immediately fell on the lotus feet of Vasishtha Muni and said, my dear Vasishtha, we are very sorry about what we have done. Please forgive us. So then Vasishtha Muni felt sorry for them. He said, okay, you 7 Vasus who helped your brother in stealing the cow will immediately take birth and immediately come back to your position. Your mother will relieve you from it. But this last fellow, Dew, who was the architect and the mastermind of this thievery, chori, will continue to live. But yes, I bless him to be a great king, a great personality, a very intellectual personality, and he will be always applauded by the great sages. And so Dew went on to be the 8th Vasu, who was the 8th child of Ganga Devi. So there now we come back to Shantanu. After each birth of child, one child was taken and drowned in Ganga. And as soon as the child was drowned in Ganga, the Vasus went back to Godhead. So 7 of them got relieved. And there Shantanu was in so much pain that his children were getting drowned. So eventually, what happened was, when Ganga Devi took the 8th child and about to drown, Shantanu could not stop, because that is Vidika Vidhan, no? Brahma has said that this child will live long. So, inspired by the Vidhi, Shantanu came and spoke to Ganga. He said, you are a heartless lady. You have murdered 7 sons, and now you are going to murder the 8th one. Please stop being heartless. How could you even do that as a mother? But Ganga actually knew what she was doing. She knew the higher purpose. So what happened? Without telling anything, the promise was broken that one should not question, because she said, the moment you break your promise, I will go away. And Ganga went away. And eventually when Ganga went away, after 32 years, as the Mahabharata says, after 32 years of time, one fine day, Shantanu was on the banks of Ganga. And when he was on the banks of Ganga, he saw one young boy playing in Ganga's water. At will, he was able to stop the Ganga. At will, he was able to run the Ganga. So he was a little bit shocked. He said, who dares to do that to my wife? So when Shantanu went there to apprehend this boy, Mother Ganga appeared from there, and immediately Shantanu realized that this child is none other than our 8th son, born between me and Ganga. So Ganga Devi, he asked Ganga Devi, he said, can I have this son of mine? She said, yeah, I have come to give it to you only. My Leela on this earth is finished now. I am going back to Brahmalok. I have made him a very capable Kshatriya. I have taught him all the Shastric rules and regulations, and he will be a great personality in future. So saying, Ganga Devi handed Devavrata. That time he was not Bhishma Pitama, he was Devavrata. So Devavrata was given to Shantanu, and Shantanu was very pleased. At last there was an apparent hire available to do that. And what happened after that? Once Shantanu was going for the hunting, and there he could smell kasturi, kasturi. So when he was smelling the kasturi, he was wondering, he said, where is this beautiful? So he thought it comes from a deer's body. So he was looking for that stag from where the kasturi is coming. Eventually what he saw, that it was coming from a woman's body. And this lady was a fisherwoman. And this fisherwoman was staying near the pond, and she was staying with her father. So when Shantanu was so much attracted by her beauty and the aroma of the body, that he desired to have her as his wife. So he went and spoke to the father. The father said, well, on one condition, that the child born out of this lady will become the king of the kingdom. Now, already there was a Yuvraj in place, Bhishma, Devavrata. So he said no, and he went back, but he was depressed. So when Devavrata saw that father was depressed, he went and asked the ministers, not his father. He didn't want to disturb the father. So they said the reason that he is in love with a lady, but they have refused. So then Devavrata went and met the girl's father, spoke to them, and he said the same thing. He said, the condition is this. So he said, yeah, okay. I promise that my children shall not become the king. The child born out of this lady will become the king. He said, listen, it's not that way. You may not say become the king, but tomorrow what if your children fight with my children, my grandchildren, and then there is a problem. Then that time he took a Bhishan Pratigya. Bhishma means terrible, Ugra, one which is very ferocious. He said, I promise that I shall never get married. I will remain an Arjivan Naistik Brahmachari, and I will never produce a child. So the Devatas, they showered flower for such a Bhishma Pratigya, because he was capable in all respects. He could have very well asked his father, when it's my age to get married, how come you are thinking of getting married? Why you can't control your desire? But these are not ordinary people, please understand. By the dint of the Lord, these are the people who are just being a part to the Leela of the Lord. So then the marriage took place, and at that point of time, Shantanu gave a blessing to the son that you may choose your time of death. I give you Chiranjeevi Bhava, because for what you have done for me, no son will do that for the father. So you will be an exceptional son in the history of. So then this is what happens over there, and then he brings Ambika and Ambalika. The story goes on in Mahabharata. So we come back to our topic now. So this was the story of Bhishma Pitama. Now Bhishma Pitama also gave up his body in the Uttarayanam after Makar Sankranti. That is the time the Lord was present in front of him. Now there are a few interesting things which Bhishma Pitama also did. Give me a moment. I'll just Hare Krishna. So, I just want to ask a small question. In the Mahabharata, the weight, there are two great things in Mahabharata. Could anybody just share with me what are those two things?
Swami, little clue related to personality or something else?
No, there are two epic things in the Mahabharata, which is very evident. All these
Draupadi Chirharan.
No, that was a sad thing actually. I am asking about two weightage, the biggest weightage or carry giveaway of Mahabharata.
Bhagavad Gita was spoken.
Absolutely. One is Bhagavad Gita, the other is?
Appearance of Krishna.
Second is?
Appearance of Krishna.
No. Appearance of Krishna is there, but there is something more that was given by Bhishma Pitama specifically. Something Gita was given by Krishna. Bhishma Pitama gave you something.
Vishnu Sahasranam.
Vishnu Stuti.
Vishnu Sahasranam. Because if this Vishnu Sahasranam was not given, we would have never understood the importance of Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much for the participation. Now you see, Bhishma Pitama was supposed to give so many instructions to Yudhishthira Maharaj as to how to be the ideal king. Now Yudhishthira Maharaj had won the battle. He was crowned as the emperor of the earth. Now he could have just had fun, right? Chalo, मैं अभी राजा बन गया, let me enjoy. इतना तकलीफ उठाया, now is the time to freak out and enjoy myself and do everything whatever I want to do, because now I am the unchallenged emperor of this world. But no, we started the chapter with the shloka that he was very sad. And Krishna had a plan that by Bhishma's words, he will be pacified. And through Bhishma, the real knowledge will come. And that is how in that state of mind, Yudhishthira went and there were so many instructions given by Bhishma by then. Now Yudhishthira has a question. It says, Shri Vaishampayan Uvacha Shrutva Dharmana Sheshena Pandava Pavanani Cha Sarvanashaha Yudhishthira Shantvananam Punareva Bhyashasa. So he said, after hearing the description of all the rules of regulations of purifying places of pilgrimage, Yudhishthira again inquired from Bhishma. Now what he asked, that is important. He said, Kimekam Daivatam Loke Kim Vyapekam Parayanam Stuvantakam Kam Archantaha Prapta Yonar Mahavana Shubham. So it says, please tell me who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate controller of the universe, who is the ultimate destination of all living beings, and who should men glorify and worship in order to attain auspiciousness. This is the very key of Mahabharata. The question being asked by Dharmaraj, who himself is having the knowledge of Dharma, because he is the son of Yamraj, who knows everything. Yamraj is one of the Mahavajanas, but he's asking a question to another Mahajana, that Ko dharma sarva dharmanam bhavata paramamata kim japan muchyate jantur janma samsara bandhanat. Kim japan, किसका नाम जपने से जीव जो है वो जन्म संसार के चक्रव्यूह से मुक्त हो जाता है. See the beautiful question. He said, what do you consider the best of all religious processes? Which mantra one should chant to become free from the bondage of repeated birth and death? So he is not here to ask Bhishma, tell me how to enjoy my seat. He's telling, how can a man attain salvation? And then he said, and immediately what Bhishma said, Shri Bhishma Vacha Jagat Prabhum Deva Devam Anantam Purushottamam Stuvan Nama Sahasrena Purusha Satashoshitaha. Immediately he said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the controller of living and non-living entities, and he is the worshipable master of the demigods, He has his transcendental forms and qualities are unlimited. He is the best of the persons, and he should always be enthusiastically glorifying the chanting the name of Vishnu Sahasranama. So here he says that Tameva Charyacham Nityam Bhaktya Purusham Avyayam Dhyayan Stuvan Namasyamsha Yajamanas Tamevacha. With great faith, the devotee should worship the Supreme Person of Godhead, Sri Krishna, whose form, quality, opulence, and pastimes are eternal. The devotee should glorify him, continually meditate on transcendental form, and offer obeisances by bowing before him. So this is what Bhagavan also says, that Sarva Dharmana Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Moksheshami Masuchaha. And how to do? Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mam Eva Shaksi Satyamte Pratijani Riyosmi. So this is where I end the class and we open it for a question answer session. I'm sure most of you must have already known what I spoke, because I assume that you're all well read, especially Mahabharata has been very interesting to all of us, and we always find so much of learnings from that. But today I thought, since we are beginning the chapter on Bhishma Pitama, let us relive the moments of Bhishma Pitama as to what he went through and how he actually stood tall amongst all the other stalwarts of Mahabharata. And his greatest gift to us was Vishnu Sahasranam. And he was really very fortunate to see Krishna standing in front of him at the time of quitting the body. Because that is what Krishna tells, Antakale Chamamaiva. And also Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yoveti Tatvataha Tyaktva Devam Punarjanma Naiti Mameti So Arjuna. One who understands that my birth and my activities are transcendental, not material, he, after quitting the body, shall never take birth again. So these are some beautiful promises of Bhagavad Gita, and there are some beautiful names of Sahasranam, which keeps us, though Krishna has got millions of names, but the 1,000 names have been put for our perspective. So I'm sure most of you must have listened to Vishnu Sahasranam, or you could be even doing as a daily Dincharya practice, which is very, very required, because I also listen to Sahasranam every day. It never a day goes in my life when I don't listen to this wonderful recitation by Shri Bhishma Pitama. So coincidentally, Subal Prabhu has given me this topic to speak about, which is very dear to me. And I'm thankful to you, Subal Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Such a beautiful explanation, and the katha as well behind it. I'm sure not many would know about it. For me, quite a few points were very new to me. Thank you very much for giving so much knowledge. I just would request anybody and everybody who would have questions, please raise your hand and you can speak out your question. This is a golden opportunity. Until you are satisfied, let's not leave Prabhu at all.
Prabhu, that Vishnu Sahasranam, which verse is that? Which are you referring? Which just now you talked?
It is just the starting, dear. It is the first few 6 verses. It starts with, there is a Shruti is there, and then we started from here. If required, I will send you the full soft copy, because this is the translation by Baldev Vidyabhushan, an Acharya from Vaishnava Sampradaya, who has given a very beautiful understanding to it. So what I will do is I will share it with Subal Prabhu, and I'm sure he will circulate amongst the team members here. And I would request you all to read it, because there are some very beautiful explanations given on each name.
I thought it is in this 9th chapter only. So
No. This, what I did is, Prabhu, I just took you to the round of Mahabharata also today. I wanted to have some time spent on this Vishnu Sahasranam and importance of Bhishma Pitama, because this is a brilliant gift that he went on to give to us actually. And Krishna inspired him to do that.
Prabhu, what is, and we understood is, he is one of the 8 Vasus, and he is the 8th Vasu, and also one of the 12 Mahajans.
Yeah. After coming to the Bhudevi, he became one of the 12 Mahajanas chosen by Sri Krishna.
And a small reference, while reading this Bhagavatam, we find a lot of such references. Adi Parv, Shanti Parv, Sabha
Shanti
Parv.
Parva, yeah.
What exactly are these?
These are various topics given to us in the index form, so that if you want to understand anything about that particular Parva means section.
Okay.
Adi Parva means the first section. Then there are different names given to each Parva. So if you go and see, you will get that necessary knowledge and necessary understanding over there. That is the reason they have divided it into that, because it's a huge thing. It's almost, the spoken was 1.4 million verses, total spoken verses. And what could be written and kept was 108,000 verses of Mahabharata. That is the reason Ganesh ji had to be called by Brahmadev to satisfy and fulfill the requirement of Vyasa. And since the Ganesh Chaturthi is also going, so Ganesh played an important role in writing down the complete Mahabharata for Vyasadeva.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Prabhu.
Anybody has any other question?
No problem.
प्रभु मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है.
Yeah, Prabhu.
Prabhu, in the 8th chapter, 27th verse, after Krishna has spoken about the various times of passing for both the types of people, in the 27th verse, he says, Naite Sruti Partha Janan Yogi Muhyati Kashana. And he says, basically, for a devotee, there is no need to understand all this, for he basically comes to me always, irrespective of the time he passes at.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, Bhishma Pitama being such a high level personality in terms of knowledge, he would definitely know all this. So why did he wait until Uttarayan to start for him to give up the body? Or was he waiting for something else as well?
No, he waited for Uttarayan to give up the body only to teach those Brahma Jyoti wala yogis that if you want to quit the body, quit at so and so time, it will be beneficial for you to not to take birth again. So since he's a Bhishma Pitama and Acharya, he is giving you all kind of instructions and knowledge as to how dharma has to be followed. Even though, like, for example, many people, they may not be Krishna conscious, but they still want to be, these are for the jnanis, Prabhu, who say, I am not the body, I am the soul. So for the jnani, there is no knowledge that ultimate is Jivara Swarupa and Nitya Krishna Das. He only understands that this material world is full of misery and I want to get out of this material world. And after getting out of the material world, I should not come back again here. So what is the process for me? The 6th chapter. Dhyana avasthita tadgatena manasa. So they do the dhyana. And they don't dhyana on the Lord. They just do the dhyana. They just concentrate on their pranvayu and they bring the pranvayu right on top of the Agna Chakra. Keep it over there, and then from the Agna Chakra, they bring it to Sasrananda. And then by the dint of their power, the talu is cracked open and the soul goes out. So this process was given by Bhishma Pitama only as a lesson. For him, Krishna standing in front of him was another thing for the devotees, that one should remember Krishna while leaving the body. So he did both in one. He waited for Krishna to come. The Lord Krishna came in front of him. The selected verses he sung as Bhishma Stuti, glorified the Lord, and then he chanted Om, meditated on the Lord, and gave up the body. So here he is teaching the people that Yoginam api sarvesha madgate nantaratmana श्रद्धावान भजते योमम समय युक्ता ततो मतः. जो भगवान ने गीता में बोला उसको भीष्म ने करके दिखाया था. But he said that there is one way to leave the body is just chant Om and go. Second is when chanting Om, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu Shabda Ke Paurutam Vishnu, that Om is also Sri Krishna. So there are two things happening here, Prabhu. One is he is meditating on the Lord and leaving the body, but he is using the Ashtanga Yoga system or the Hatha Yoga system to quit the body, which not for us it is possible. So easily what happens to her a devotee, what he finds from this, he says better to think of the Lord and quit the body. Antakale not trying to bring this air here and there. How we know where the air is at the time of passing the body? But you're definitely chanting the name, so Krishna will take care. That is the reason the Lord tells that way. in the 8th chapter that for a devotee you need not know this. But here a devotee did 2 in 1. One way Krishna is there, he is seeing him, he is meditating on him, chanting Om. It means Om is also a reference to Krishna. What is that particular word?
There is one verse in 8th chapter.
What is that word? Mata Dhata Pita Maha.
यज्ञो पवित्र ओंकार
Vedyam Pavitram Omkara. Rik Sama Sarva Ved. I'm just not getting the first word of that shloka. In that, he says that
Pitahamasya Jagato Mata Dhata Pitamaha.
yes, Pitahamasya Jagato Mata Dhata Pitamaha. Vedyam Pavitram Omkar. In Vedyam Pavitram Omkar, I am the Omkar. So Krishna says, I am the Om. Many people they say no, Om has got no form. But here Krishna assimilates that I am the Om. And that same Om Bhishma Pitama will chant looking at Krishna. It means I'm accepting that you are the Om. Now, we also have to understand one more thing in this, There was a very big, people make a hue and cry when we say Krishna is the Supreme. Well, people have choices, their own understanding, their own knowledge, and their own faith. And they may have an affiliation or attraction to a personality in the Vedic system. And not in the Vedic system also, like when you have the Babaji culture, like nowadays. I don't want to get into that. But why was Ganesh chosen to write all these things? There has to be a reason by Brahmadev or Vyasa accepting Ganesha's, to accept Ganesha as the writer, because Ganesha is the Lord of Buddhi. And he knows the Shastra inside out by the dint of his father, because Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Shambhu is the knowledge, has the knowledge of all the Vedas and Puranas and everything, which in the Tantra Vidya he gave it to his wife Parvati, as per the Shiva Puran. When Ganesh was writing Mahabharata, of course he has written, documented Bhagavad Gita also and Vishnu Sahasranam also. So if there was any dispute in what Vyasa said, Ganesh would have immediately countered Vyasa and said, my dear Vyasdev, what you are telling is not right. This is the right thing. But when Krishna says that Vedyam Pavitram Omkara Riksam Yajurevacha or Mata Parattaram Nanyat Kinchid Dasidananya Aham Sarvasya Prabhava Mata Sarvam Pravatate Antakale Cha Mamaiva Smarana Muktva Kalevara Sarva Dharmana Parityaja. All these things what Krishna has said in Gita, nowhere Ganesh had any dispute. And Ganesh gave a pushti or acceptance that this is the ultimate truth. Because many people say, oh, some human being wrote this Gita and all that. No, it was written by Lord Ganesha directly in the first form. Then it came down. So this was one of the reasons why Ganesh was chosen. Because people will, and I'm sure on this forum, everybody agrees the power, position, and acceptance of Ganesha.
Thank you
Yes,
so much.
Subal
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you very much.
So, Dhanishta has one question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandat Pranam.
Pranam Mataji, bolo.
Prabhu, just a small question. When Vishnu Sahasranam was spoken, right, Prabhu? We have also heard that Bhishma Dev also told Yudhishthir Maharaj about, when the 10th day we have to do this, on the 11th day we have to do this, all those things to him also, right? Of sacrifice of all those things. So is it that after telling everything, then he told about Vishnu Sahasranam? That is the main thing. Which is this the truth one?
What we'll have to do is, Mataji, we'll have to see the hierarchy of the indexing in the Mahabharata. I will check and get back to you on that. But this you're telling about the 10 days of the Shraddha? Mataji,
Yes,
is it the
Prabhu.
Shraddha?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
But what has that got to do in relation with the sequencing, Mataji? Just a doubt?
No, just actually a thought came in my mind, Prabhu, when Bhishma Dev is telling about the sacrifice and everything. So I thought now sacrifice is not, in Kali Yuga we don't have to do any sacrifices.
Yeah.
So what is the main thing which we have to take from Bhishma Dev is the Vishnu Sahasranam.
Yeah,
Right?
and that too, he talks about chanting the holy names of the Lord in
Right.
the Sankirtan. Yeah, that's right.
Right. So actually, so that the thought just got into that question. So the he told about sacrifice also, and he told about Vishnu Sahasranam also. So that
Yeah.
came into my mind in both the ways.
No. It is the importance will eventually go to the Namavali. That is the reason an elaborate Namavali was given. But for the understanding of the people, he has given the sacrifices also. What sacrifices can be done, how it can be done, and why it has to be done. Because you cannot completely give up the sacrifice route also. Like when you do Yagya Anustan for marriage, sacrifice is a must. Because Agni Dev has to be the Sakshi to your activities. But many people don't do it that way. They go to the court and get it done. Even people from the Christian and Muslim background, they are in the temple and mosque and church for their acceptance of their marriage vows. So vows are there and it has to be witnessed by a priest. So for us also the sacrifices are a must. But as I said, it is not innate that it should be done in a big, elaborate way. It's not necessary. It can be done in a small way also.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I saw Mr. Rao asking a question. Was that he had unmuted himself, Mr. Rao?
No, Prabhuji, I was saying thank you because a lot of
Okay.
things you don't know, so that was very nice.
No worries, Prabhu. I'm very happy that all of you have joined the class. Thank you very much for that.
Great. Thank you so much.
Nisha, anything? Just a minute. Nisha, anything from your side, Nisha? Nothing.
Prabhuji, she just went into washroom, but nothing from our side, Prabhuji.
No doubts. Thank you for joining, Rahul.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sujata, anything from your side?
Krishna, Hare Krishna. No, Prabhu, it was excellent class, and after such a long time, it was really a great feeling. Thank you so much for it.
Lavina, Jignesh, anything from your side?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhu. Prabhu, I have one question. Nowadays, we are also invited for Ganesh Puja and Aarti, and we are also worshipping Lord Krishna. So how do we take this? How do we pray Lord Ganesha to help us in progressing Krishna Bhakti? What should we do actually?
That's pretty interesting question actually. Good. Yesterday Keshav Bharti was there with me in Kavita Mataji's house, so he heard one class, one small story on Ganesha. Would you all like to listen to that? Keshav Bharti, aap sunayenge?
Yes, Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु थैंक यू फॉर द elaborate class but आप भी एक बार सुनाइए प्रभु ताकि
अच्छा
हम
वही सुनो okay ठीक है so today I will give you a short class from Brahma Vaivarta Puran. I remember to have shared this with Subal Prabhu at one point of time in a soft copy. You still have it, Subal Prabhu?
Yes, definitely. I've read it also, Prabhu. Quite informative.
Yeah, so I'll just take them through a brief of that because let the team members also get the information on that. So we all know that Mother Parvati had the first son by the name of Kartikeya. This is from Brahma Vaivarta Puran. And Kartikeya was the Senapati General of the Devatas. He was specifically begotten by Lord Shiva so that he could help the Devatas to fight the Asuras. Now, issue with Parvati was that son would go away for fighting the battles with the Devatas and husband would go away to Himalayas for meditation and she would be alone at home. So pati bhi nahi hai, putra bhi nahi hai. So for a woman, that was a little bit of a difficult of a thing. So at some point of time when Lord Shiva came back after his dhyana, she put a proposal that can we have another child? I want, but this time the child should be of my liking and he will be with me forever. Not like my elder son and not like my husband who are always away. Because I also feel that I should be associating with someone. So please, my dear Lord, please guide me as to how do I get the child like how I want. So then Lord Shiva told her that you should do Pumsavan Vrata for 1 year and then do the Udyapan. After doing the Udyapan, you will get a child of your liking. Sorry. So Parvati started the Pumsavan Vrata. Now Pumsavan Vrata has been shown in Bhagavatam also. It has been done by Diti and Aditi to get respective Daivik children. So eventually it so happened that Ganesh, how Ganesh came to the existence was when she did the Pumsavan Vrata for 1 year. During the summer time, she would put the ring of fire and sit between that and do the tapasya. During the winter time, Parvati mother would go into chilly, icy water of Himalayas and do the tapasya. So like that 1 year finished, and Pumsavan Vrat is done to satisfy Lord Krishna, Shama Sundara. So the Lord appeared in front of her. He said, yes, my dear Devi, tell me how can I fulfill your desire? What is it that you're looking for? When Parvati looked at the form of Krishna, she was completely mantra mugdha. She had never seen such a beauty, though she herself is a Trilok Sundari. And the Lord was coming brilliant with thousands and millions of rays coming out of his body. The Brahma Jyoti was coming and he was like, brilliant. So Parvati said, I would like to have a son like you. So the Lord smiled. He said, there is no one like me. I am the only one person. But I can still fulfill your desire. One amsha from my body I am giving you. So one ray of Krishna came out of his body and it disappeared in the sky. And by blessing her, he went away. That night, Lord Shiva came back and he associated with Mother Parvati and he impregnated her. Because that particular piece of light which I told you disappeared had gone into the body of Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva impregnated Parvati with that same amsha. So now, the next day when Parvati was very happy, she went to take bath, she closed the quarters and she removed the uptan from the body, created a vigraha, and that same amsha which was in her womb, she put it into the body, into that vigraha, and Ganesh came to life. So you see, Ganesh has got 3 Shaktis, Vishnu Tattva, Shiva Tattva, Shakti Tattva. That is the reason Ganesh is not a position, Ganesh is a personality. You cannot become Ganesh, you cannot become Vishnu, you cannot become Durga or Parvati, you cannot become Shiva, and you cannot become Surya Narayan. These are personalities. Rest from Brahma and other things, these are positions. You can become Brahma, you can become Indra, you can become Chandra, you can become Vayu, you can become Varun, you can become Niritti, you can become Agni, but not this Panchadev. Who are the Panchadevs? Vishnu, Shiv, Parvati, Ganesh, and Surya Narayan. And when
what about Hanuman?
Hanuman is also Chiranjeevi. He is a Shiva Tattva. Hanuman is Shiva Tattva. You cannot become Hanuman also. But Hanuman definitely is going to be the next Brahma of this particular universe. And Bali Maharaj will become the Indra of the next creation. So these two are already nominated as per the Puranas. So eventually Ganesh came into existence and he started to cry. So hearing the children, hearing a child cry, everybody came to see who the child is. So all the demigods, they came. Brahma and Saraswati came, Narayana and Lakshmi came, Lord Shiva himself came, blessed the child, and everyone blessed. In the end, Shanidev came. So when Shanidev came, Shani was looking in the other side because he's Vakra Drishti. He always sees on the other side. So that point of time, Parvati was very upset. She said, why are you not looking at my child and blessing? She said, Mother, if I look at him, something amangal might happen and I don't want that to happen. So please, let me do what I'm doing. She said, no, you have to see. So she forced him to look at the child. The moment he looked at the child's neck got cut from his body and it went to Golok Vrindavan. And the child fell down. And Parvati almost collapsed. A newborn child passed away. And Lord Shani said, see, I told you. Then eventually, Lord Shiva came and pacified her, and Narayana said, I will go and do the necessary. So Lord Shiva said, you go towards the eastern side, and whoever is the first jiva that you get, cut the head and bring it. So that jiva will get moksha, whoever has donated his head for the body of my son. So they get a Gajamukha and put it on Ganpati. So the first, as soon as he comes back to life, the first benediction he gets from Lord Narayana is, you will be Pratham Pujika. Second came from Lakshmi Ji, that those who desire wealth but in goodness, they can do Lakshmi Ganesh Puja and they will be blessed. So like that, each demigod gave one Ashirvad. Lord Shiva said that you will be Ganadi Raja, Ganadipati, Ganapati. So like that, one by one, he got all the blessings and Ganesh came into existence. So Ganesh is the Amsha of Lord Krishna. So this is the connection between them. So when you pray to Ganesh for Krishna conscience, he will be happy because you are praying to his Aradhya, who has given him the Vignaharta power, which is there in Brahma Samhita 550. You can read that. Yadapada Pallava Yudambini Daya Gunda. That one you can do it. And that this is the Ganesh story. And this is how they are connected. Is that okay, Jignesh Prabhu?
Wonderful explanation, Prabhu. Thank you so much. We are doing it since here, but with the proper understanding, it gets meaningful. And we also get that how to pray more.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So much.
Prabhu, I remember you had also mentioned that there was a fight between Ganpati and Parshuram.
Yeah.
In which one of the teeth was broken, and then Parshuram was complaining to Parvati that your child is very naughty. And that is when Parvati Mata said it is impossible because he is an Amsha of Krishna, he can never be naughty. If I am not wrong.
Yeah, then what happened was he became Ekadanta by that. Ganpati became Ekadanta because what happened when Parshuram saw that he was losing the battle to Ganesh, which happened in Kailash. So he took his axe or Parshu and chanted one mantra and then he attacked him with the Parshu. So he took the Parshu on his teeth and it broke down. So at that point of time, Parvati asked Ganesh that you could have easily rebounded this particular axe. So why you did not do it? What stopped you from doing that? So he said he chanted the Krishna mantra and put it to me. Had I deflected it, that would have been an apman and apra in the lotus feet of my Lord, which I don't want to do. So I took it on my tusk and let it happen. So with the same broken tusk, he wrote the complete Mahabharata. So there also, this is from the Linga Puran. This katha is from the Linga Puran about the fight between Parshuram and Ganesha.
Jai, thank you so much. It's so useful to understand this one so that the perspective of worshipping Lord Ganesh is also clear. Otherwise, people think that he is the all in all, which he himself denies. So people can get a better perspective. Great. So many thanks, Prabhu. Thanks a lot for joining. Please come regularly.
Sure, Prabhu. It will be an honor to do so.
Thank you.
Prabhu.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for wonderful session, Prabhu.
Thanks.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Swarup, you didn't ask me anything.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. No, just listening, noting down some notes that you were speaking, Prabhu.
Yeah.
So very nice, Prabhu. Excellent class.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the kind support. We are always happy to be with you.
Yes, Prabhu.
Jai.
Jai.
Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. So we will end the class here. See you next week on Saturday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you very
Krishna.
much.
Thank you.